Welcome to Teachcrest International. My name is Ruth Kerubo. Today I want to look at tea farming in Kenya. First of all, happy International Tea Day. Yeah, tea is drunk all over the world, both herbal and the tea that comes from Camellia sinensis. First of all, in this lesson, we are going to look at the different varieties of tea. Number 2, we are going to look at the factors favoring the growth of tea, both physical, that is biotic and abiotic factors, and we're also going to look at the human factors. The other objective is that we're going to look at the cultivation as well as the processing of tea. We are going to look at the impact of tea growing to the economy of any country, including Kenya. Welcome. So, what are the factors necessary for the growth of tea? One, we need to look at the physical factors, and one of the physical factors is that you can draw a hill or a mountain to show you these things. For example, it needs to be an altitude of 1,500 meters and above, that is 1.5 kilometers above, because the higher you go, the cooler it will tend to become. So that's why most tea are grown in highlands where the temperatures are cool. Number 2, the temperatures required need to be between 17 to 20 degrees Celsius, so they need cool temperatures because this plant is a supple one. Another physical factor under climate is that you need to have well distributed rainfall of above 1,000 millimeters annually. And when we talk about annually, it means per year. Another characteristic is that you need to have shade against winds. So that's why you'll see, like here at the background, we have trees which act as windbreakers. Yeah. Another thing, you need to have a gentle sloping land which will allow drainage. The kind of soils that are suitable for tea growing need to be acidic to improve the quality of that tea, and they need to be well drained. On human factors, you will see you need adequate labor because tea growing is a labor-intensive activity, especially right from cultivation to harvesting to transporting it. Number 2, you need availability of capital, especially to start the tea farm, to pay the workers, as well as to apply fertilizers, to purchase fertilizers, Yeah. Another thing, you need good transport networks, especially the tarmac ones, to facilitate movement to the factories, because tea is a highly perishable product. Another thing, there must be factories within the proximity of the tea farms so that the tea gets there well, still fresh. Let's look at tea cultivation. The tea cuttings are raised in the nursery for 6 to 10 months. And remember, instead of using seeds, we are using a vegetative method of propagating the tea. So you can see this is how the nursery is made. Then on top here is where you can put things like grass on top to provide shade conditions. You'll need to do watering. Yeah. You need to safeguard your tea seedlings from animals, so you need to fence it. Then ensure the place is accessible so that they can be carried by tractors, vehicles, or motorbikes. You can avoid shades, especially under trees. You'll find because plants require sunlight. So if there is no sunlight, definitely they'll start to yellow or become weak, and that will mean poor quality. So you need to ensure the place is not under tree shades. The landscape needs to be gently sloping to allow a free flow of water by the force of gravity instead of flooding. So this is how the tea seedlings will appear in the end. Yeah, and it can now be transplanted to the main bed or field. So the holes are dug at intervals of 0.7 to 0.9 meters, with rows being 1.5 meters apart. So then you transplant during the rainy season so that the plant will get to adjust faster. The young tea plants are intercropped with other crops to prevent soil erosion and to act as mulch. Then you can pluck the tips of the shoots periodically to encourage growth of more shoots. Then once the tea is ready, that is around 4 years, the bushes are pruned to a new level after every 3 years to increase production through vegetative growth, tipping or cutting shoots back to the required height. Then when you want to harvest the tea, you simply pick the two leaves and a bud. And that's why we don't recommend use of machines as such, because they get to even cut trash. Then the tea is picked after 5 to 7 days during the rainy season, while on dry seasons it takes roughly 2 weeks. Then a straight stick is used to determine the height. Then it should not be pressed to prevent premature fermentation. So you don't go on, you just leave it to be in airy baskets. Yeah. Then it's transported to the factory using lorries like this. Yeah, like this. You can see the baskets, the sacks that are carrying the maize are airy to allow free ventilation or good aeration of the tea so that it cannot ferment prematurely. So at the factory, the processing of tea is carried depending on what you want. Do you want black tea? Do you want a green tea? Do you want white tea or purple? So for example, if you want green tea, basically what you'll do is to wither, then you roll, you crush into smaller particles, you sieve, and bas, it's ready. But if you want black tea, it has to undergo more processes like fermentation. Yeah. Let's consider using the black tea. So at the factory, you need to weigh the tea. Here is an example of a weighing machine where they weigh the tea. Yeah, though in most cases, sometimes where the tea buying centers are involved, you find it has already been measured. However, we also have other ways in which tea is sold directly, maybe to Sokohoro. Yeah. Then after weighing, you put them in trays or racks. Then they are withered by blowing hot air and cool air alternately. But if they're on small scale, you can decide them they just wither on their own, so that the water that is in them gets to evaporate. Thereafter, you put in a crusher or rollers to crush them into small pieces. The crushed leaves are fermented for a few hours or overnight. Yes, and this is to improve the quality of that tea. After fermentation, the leaves are dried by blowing air through a dryer. So basically you are trying to desiccate. Then the cooled tea is graded by passing through a strainer, which saves it in various grades. Yeah, the various tea grades are winnowed by blowing out unwanted fibers. Then the tea is then packed in chests or bags to await for sale or exportation. And until this point, you can now do maybe things like value addition. Maybe you add tangawizi, you can, that is ginger, you can add your rosemary, citric acid, if you want, whatever kind of value addition you want to do. Yeah, after you have done the grading, you can now even do the packing, yeah, in various things. And the major growing areas are usually the Western Highlands and the Eastern Highlands. So the Western Highlands, these are those which are on the west of the Rift Valley, and they include Kericho, Nandi, Kakamega, Chirangani Hills. We have Kisii, Nyamira. Then on the Eastern Highlands, we have Nyeri, Murang'a, Kiambu, Thika, etc. So we have the Aswan variety, which is common in India and Sri Lanka. Then we have the Chinese variety. By the way, tea was first discovered in China. That's why they have these cultural practices of taking tea. Even in Japan. Yeah. Then you need to look at the problems facing the farmers. One, we have pests such as weevils and beetles that attack tender leaves, which are supposed to be picked. We have diseases, e.g. root rot, which make the tea bush to wither and dry. We have hailstones which fall on the tea bushes, causing damage, especially in Kericho and Nandi. And you'll see this under environmental management and conservation, whereby we talk about hailstones and the effects on the environment. Then we have fluctuation of world prices, which causes the farmers to lose morale because there's not that stability of the shilling. Then we also have shortage of rainfall, leading to reduction in leaf production. For example, you have seen that when it's raining, you can get to harvest after 5 to 7 days. But if it's not raining, you get to take 2 weeks. You'll have lost a lot during those times. And then shortage of labor in some tea growing areas where the young people have migrated to towns is also proving to be a challenge. Then there is shortage of capital to meet the production costs, and this is the problem faced. These are the lorries that are used. That's how a nursery bed looks like. You can see. Sometimes you find even the transport networks are poor, so it becomes a challenge. That's your tea. You can see the spacing. The rows are close to each other, then there are 1.5 while the others was 0.9. Here is a list of some of the factories in Kenya and their production volumes in kgs. The leading is Kionyo with 170,560 kgs. That's like 17 tons. We have Larock as with the 3,160 kgs. Oh, the one near home is Gianchori. We'll look for Tombe. Tombe is at 23,320. Kebirigo is at 25,404. 44. I have Nyansiongo also leading at number 30. Like data is found in Kiambu, yeah. So it is also leading at number 27, 65,600. Yeah, that is it. Then significance of tea growing to the economy. It will enable creation of jobs, yes, laborers, transporters, the directors, etc. And it will also lead to infrastructural development, especially roads, to facilitate transport of the tea from the farm to the factory and from the factory to the market. It will also lead to development of social amenities, especially where tea is grown in estates. You'll get to find schools, hospitals, etc. Then we can also get to see that tea growing can aid in earning the country some income, yeah, and as well as foreign income where we do the export. Remember, like Kenya is the #1 tea producer in Africa, and it's the 6th leading producer of tea in the world. So let's look at the role of the Kenya Tea Development Agency, which is a government parastatal tasked to do with the following tasks. 1, it's used to pay the farmers. It is tasked with collection of tea from tea buying centers. So they will use the lorries with the processing of tea, providing farmers with inputs such as fertilizer. It is also used to sensitize farmers on high quality production of tea. It facilitates sale of tea at the best possible price. Remember, our tea is usually sold either direct sale or auctioning. So if it's under auctioning, it will ensure this best sell at possible prices. It will also ensures prompt payment, collection of payment from all tea buyers. Yeah, promotion of tea with the aim of expanding the market share. How is the tea marketed? It's through factory door sale of tea in polythene bags to farmers. We also have through Mombasa auction and through Keteba, which is the largest packing company in Africa. So like you can see, Keteba is the one which has packed Fahari here, Kenya. And so I have the Safari tea, it has packed. Look at the different blending of tea, eh? Man. This is the auctioning sales. These were low prices. Until then, hope you have learned. My name is Ruth Kevu. Bye.